And so the stupid debate. Oh, by the way, good morning, happy Thursday. And so the stupid debate about capitalism and socialism goes on and on. When people are debating this, they should have a full and complete knowledge of the two. Socialism and capitalism work best for all when married together. Capitalism, it seems, works best for a few by itself. Yes, people get benefits from both. Yes, people get benefits from capitalism when the companies and the businesses trickle down their profits in the form of better pay for the workers. However, there's one thing that stands out. No workers, many, many less businesses. Workers, in most respects, make businesses happen. Not everybody can be a single proprietor with no employees entrepreneur. There are people that do that, but it is not a majority occurrence. Now, the proponents of have your own business at any cost will argue the point. Well, they can argue all they want, and they can start their own businesses all they want, and I hope they're successful as long as they're selling products and services which are equitable and help people. Win-win product and service propositions for consumers. So now we move one more time back into the mixture of the two. What I see going on these cable news networks is mostly bullshit about socialism. They're comparing it to authoritarian, quote, communism, unquote. And while there might have been state socialism involved in those countries, it wasn't socialism. Where we have socialism is mixed in with European democracies. They're not socialist countries. They're European democracies with large social safety nets. I agree with that. I agree that that is a correct assessment because that's now you get elected officials in those countries vehemently denying any socialism. Well, that's just so they don't piss off the capitalist monkeys. Now let's turn to the Supreme Court and their rulings. The Supreme Court and their rulings are too conservative. They do not reflect the will of the people. Need to gut this court out any way we can, legally, as soon as possible, after we get rid of the orange idiot and his followers. The other topic I wanted to touch on is the stock market. It's really sad that we have this stock market economy perception in the country. When the stock market's doing good, the economy's doing great, despite how poorly the workers are really doing. For instance, where I work, I haven't had a raise since 2008. Had a slight raise in commission about 5 years ago. It doesn't escape the fact that despite my steady sales volume, I have never been less than number one, whether I had the most leads or whether I had an equal amount of leads with the rest of the reps in the company I work for. I have always sold the most. Why? Because I have a lot of skills. I effect those skills, and I actually do very mild persuasion and deliver information in such a way that the clients persuade themselves to buy what I have. Very simple. Now, despite all of that, I've had no raise, and my colleagues have had no raise. Despite all of that, I've seen my income decrease by 33% since 2008. Actually, since 2010. Up to 2010, I had a great income stream. It's decreased by 34%. My taxes have gone up. I am now paying taxes out of pocket to cover my IRS bill. Now, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that the deductions that I used for years were taken away by the orange shithead and his stock market cronies. And so here's the problem. The stock market is 10% basically of the population. Yes, 50% of the population owns some stock. Right. 10% of that 50% own 83% of the stock. That means 40% have a paltry share of what's going on, and the other 50% in our country don't have shit. So that means a paltry commission from dividends, and people that don't have an investment in it are the majority. So we do not have a stock market economy. We have an economy which gets led by the whims and the desires of Wall Street. Bullshit. Despite the fact that these are mostly big businesses. They're all pretty much big business up there on Wall Street. And what do we have out here in the private sector? Millions and millions of small businesses who are not publicly listed on the stock market. That's the majority of business in this country. That's the majority of business. It's not Wall Street corporations. So this perception that the economy is great because the stock market is great is bullshit. And this whole coronavirus scare amplifies that. Now, here's the thing about the coronavirus. Yes, it can be avoided by the simple precautions that we take to avoid getting a cold or a respiratory illness. There's no question about that. Yes, we need to stay away from people who may be carriers, but how are we going to know that they're carriers unless they're tested? Now, in speaking with a friend last night, I was heartened to see that the company that he works for, which is a biological development company, a biotech company, has developed a test kit for coronavirus. Well, without millions and millions of these test kits, we don't know who carries and who doesn't. And this is a problem in the workplace, especially office workplace, where we're in a confined environment and the air isn't completely cleaned and it is primarily circulated. So what does that mean? Well, it means keep your hands off your face, keep your fingers out of your nose, keep your hands washed, might have to wear a mask. It also means that when somebody comes down sick, they need to get kicked out of the workplace until they're not contagious. Now, that applies to every other disease, like the flu. Flu killed 17,000 people in this country in the last year. 17,000. Well, okay, that's only about half of what got killed on the highway. Okay. Now, we're being told that coronavirus is 20 times more lethal than the flu. Okay, so some of the alarm is not wrong. Some of the alarm is an alarm that's getting sounded. Now, it's a little late to stop the spread. It's going to spread probably. It is good, though, to stay away from large, confined crowds. If you hear somebody coughing, get the fuck out of the room. Wash your hands and face. Make sure that you don't have any contact with those people who are coughing and who are sick. That doesn't mean they have coronavirus. It just means it's good precaution. So what it means for me is a limited public contact and watching and listening to what's going on in the room where I am. It also means that employers need to wake up and send people home who are sick. Send them home. Don't let them work. Don't let them infect us. Okay? Because if a bunch of people get sick in a workplace, especially in a small business, it's going to cripple that business. And we know that. Anyway, so I talk too much. I enjoy what I'm doing. I do love my job. I haven't quit because I'm so close to retirement. I haven't found somewhere to go. I've been looking for somewhere else to go for a long time, but there isn't anywhere for me to go thus far. So I'm going to stick with what I'm doing until I can get out, and then I'm going to get out and I'm going to start a new phase of my life. Anyway, I'm optimistic about this, and I'm optimistic that a lot of us are going to survive this virus. Also, though, here's your conspiracy of the week. What if China let the virus escape out of its confinements and mutate so it could thin out the surplus population? I know that's a rather Dickinsonian reflection on this, but what if? I don't think that's in any way true or correct. But however, what if that's true? What if all the rulers of the world have got together and decided we need to thin the population of the people that cause us the most economic pain in their eyes? Oh, there's your conspiracy BS of the week.